Hey guys, 4Plus here. Totally different video today. Just going to do an initial reaction to patch 5.16. Normally I would make content that's heavily researched and focused, so sorry if this is a bit like wishy-washy compared to my normal content. It's just off the top of my head. I've got the patch notes up in front of me. I've played a couple of games now. I've seen the new Juggernaut champions in play. I nearly called them heroes already, off to a good start. So yeah, we're going to focus on the top lane changes, mainly with Garen and Darius. There's obviously Skarn as a jungler, and Mordekaiser's now an AD carry, or whatever the fuck's going on there. So let's begin with Garen. I personally believe Garen still has the exact same weaknesses as he did before. I believe the guy's name is Supermarine. He's a NA Garen main, like the best Garen player in North America. He posts on Reddit quite a lot, and I believe he's said before in Season 3 when I first saw him posting, or maybe Season 4, he never picks Garen into a hard matchup, and Garen has multiple hard matchups in the top lane. So I'll use Teemo as an example. If you're in a draft pick and you're, say, first pick, if you pick Garen with the intention of going top lane, you open yourself up to just be completely shut down by the enemy picks. It's not that Garen gets, like, hard counted, to say. It's more that he can't cope with certain mechanics in the game. Mainly just that range versus melee matchup. He's very kiteable. His combo is very stagnant, or static, I want to say. He has to land the silence into the spin, and then a few auto attacks, perhaps. He's not equipped with a dash or any blink mechanic to like close a gap really quick. That's why he's quite renowned for using brushes. I mean, when you first started playing on the game, or at least when I did in Season 1, it was very known Garen stands in a brush, he Qs you, he uses his E, that's his combo. So don't go near the brush if Garen's there, kind of thing. None of that's been changed. I think even with the Juggernaut changes, until you get to about level 9 and you start picking up some of these really hefty Juggernaut items that I think are actually pretty crazy right now, you can't compete with Teemo in lane. There's no way. If Teemo knows what he's doing, you can orb walk and he uses his effective range, he pokes you down with auto attacks, you're just going to be going back to base after base, very squishy. And even if you did land a QE combo on him, someone like Teemo, his auto attacks enough counter trade you. So overall, I think Garen's still in a bad place. Maybe in certain drafts you'll find scenarios where you can pick up a Garen pick and it's okay. But overall, I'm sorry Garen players, if there's any of you out there, he's still pretty subpar. Some of the changes that I think are notable, let me just make sure of this. On Garen, his health growth stat is going from 96 to 84.25, and I'll explain in a second why that's not even a deal. But let me just scroll to Darius. Is he getting the same? I'd assume he is. They didn't even touch it on Darius. Oh, they did. They upped Darius's. Okay, that's really weird. So the health growth stats are getting nerfed on Garen. I actually believe that was because all the Juggernaut items had so much health on them. You're averaging 400 to 600 health on each of the Juggernaut items. Deadman Plate, Starrex Gauge. You could argue Black Cleavers, one of their items, like an initial Juggernaut item before they did it. This update, sorry. So don't worry about like minor tweaks in the numbers. So when you're looking through the patch notes, what you want to look at is how they've like standardized Garen's kit. His W, I'm sure, is a revert to how it used to be. I'm pretty certain that his W used to stack up where if you kill the minion, you'd gain an armor and magic resist permanently, like 0.5 back then up to 15, I thought. But anyway, he has one now that stacks to 30, that's okay. But one of the biggest things that I think they did wrong with Garen personally, we'll see how it plays out, but they took tenacity off his W. Garen is a true melee champion in the sense that he has no gap closer, as mentioned. He only has a speed up, he's very reliant on movement speed. Tenacity is huge for a champion like that. Imagine like Udyr when he used to have his tenacity, if he used to play back then, his monkey's agility or whatever it was called on his passive. It's so impactful to not be able to be kited, to have CC reduction on you as a movement speed reliant bruiser. I don't want to say tank, let's say Juggernaut. A movement speed reliant Juggernaut. And that's a common theme between all the Juggernauts actually. Same as Darius, same as Skarn, and same as Mordekaiser. They're all movement speed reliant, but deal good damage and they're very tanky. So I think that nerf is a little bit strange. We'll see. If Garen had tenacity on his W, I guess it would be too strong with a 1-point wonder, but still, looking at his kit, there's nothing to help him with that matchup against Teemo. There's nothing that's going to tilt that balance. Equally, for matchups where he's more favoured, so a common one is people will believe Garen's good into Riven, although I'll argue that it isn't. Against the lower elo players, let's say silver average, where Riven isn't utilised to her full potential and the skill cap isn't reached. Garen can beat a Riven just because he has a silence in his kit and it's kind of detrimental to what Riven wants to do since she's a caster. Maybe with the rework where he has some neat features like on his Juggernaut, on his Judgment. Judgment deals 33% increased damage when striking a single target. That's pretty good for that Riven matchup, right? Because 1v1 top lane is very, very common in solo queue. We don't see these lane swaps, and unless you're getting ganked, you probably are just in a 1v1 scenario. So 33% increased damage on a Riven who's trying to Q combo you, yeah, that'll work, that's okay. The refund, if you cancel it early on the cooldown, is also cool in his Judgment. His quality of life changes, basically, that he's received. And I think it's a great direction, but I think Garen is designed to be a low skill cap, low reward champion. In the sense you'll never see him at LCS. Don't quote me on that. Actually, no, do quote me on that. I'm confident on that. But he's got so many inherent weaknesses in his kit. He's kind of basic and for that reason limited, if that makes sense. Coolest change for Garen, I think, though, is his ultimate. And also his villain passive. I believe that's on his normal passive. Oh, I can't just tell right here. But the villain mechanic, that's cool. It's a bit niche and a bit kind of just for fun, it seems. I mean, like I played earlier where a Garen was in a team fight and he was next to a Vayne and a Wukong, I believe. And also a Taric. So his passive identifies Taric as the villain, but are you really going to go out your way to get the extra damage on Taric when Vayne's in your face and you're playing Garen? Probably not. So it's a mechanic similar to Fiora's where when it works for you, it's great. Like Fiora's passive, it's great if it's lining up, the vitals are facing you, and you don't have to tower dive them to proc them or something like that. But overall, I don't know, I think it's okay. Again, it's like, it's weird variables that you don't want to see in competitive play. Like, imagine how impactful it'd be if you villainized the enemy AD carry who's in your face. That extra damage could really add up. It's a bit too random, perhaps. But overall, he's got a better feel to who he is. He's got like an identity as this like social justice warrior on the field, helping spread Tumblr feminism or something. But it's okay. If you enjoyed Garen before and you like to pick him now and then in your blind pick games or your draft pick solo queue games, if you're crazy, then sure, he's in a better place. But I don't think we'll see anything crazy with Garen. I think he'll still, to say he's had a full rework, I think we'll still see him just as much. Where after the hype dies down and people stop playing him, people probably won't even consider him a good character. I struggle to see a team comp where you're like, so we've got this Orianna mid, we've got like Shyvana jungle, we've got Kog'Maw, Lulu bot. We really need a Garen. No, you're not going to see a Garen fit into a comp, I don't think. Maybe he'll find a niche. I don't think he can flex mid, like a Fiora can flex mid. He's very reliant on the melee matchups. Maybe to shut down an assassin like Zed. That's probably stretching it though, because he has no scaling like that. So yeah, overall, my initial thoughts on Garen, they've pushed him in the right direction, they've tidied him up a bit, but he's still Garen. And that's probably the biggest weakness of Garen, that is Garen. So the change that I'm more excited to talk about is with Darius. I've only played one game as Darius right now, like I said, it's very initial reaction, so I'll take everything with a pinch of salt, but not the PJ salt kind of salt. I think it's cool. I think, again, Darius had a niche like Garen. He's very... Before, I'd say he was very unreliable. He was kind of like this lane bully who you could pick in certain matchups, and if you're confident as Darius, you could shut down an opponent, such as Aurelia, and then kind of like scale well into mid-game but fall off. And his ultimate never felt like this actual execute ultimate. And for good reason, because like when he first came out, do you guys remember, like, you'd ult someone in lane, and then you'd have no cooldown on it, you'd go base, you'd come back, you'd ult them again, and you just kill them over and over. It was ridiculous. The new changes, cool. His passive makes him able to team fight. Now if you... It might be a passive on his ultimate, actually. It's either on his ultimate or on his innate passive. If you kill someone who has 5 stacks of hemorrhage on them, which is your passive, you bleed, you can instantly apply 5 stacks to anyone around you when you blood rage. Yeah, it's on his normal passive now. So, I'll just read it out really quick. If you have 5 stacks on a champion or kill a champion with R, then you'll enter blood rage. So, he's very rewarded for correctly managing his passive in a team fight. If you get 5 stacks on someone, then you queue through everyone, you're going to apply 5 stacks to everyone. And then imagine the craziness with his ultimate at max rank. It has no mana cost, and you're just going to chop everyone down. Even if you don't have the perfect scenario, because you hardly ever will have a perfect scenario as Darius, where you can just ult 5 people and kill them all. what you could do is rotate 3 ultimates, which is a hefty amount of damage. If you think about it, you kill 2 people and then you chunk someone. That's very respectable. It's kind of like a Karthus, but a little less unreliable still. Overall, in the lane phase, I think Darius never had a bad lane phase. Darius is similar to Yorick, where they're lane bullies, which are very punished if they get ganked. But now, the heal on his Q makes that a little bit different. There was scenarios where, I believe I was against a Lee Sin jungle, but regardless, if you get ganked as Darius, and you get a double Q while you're escaping, you can heal 20% of your max health if you hit them with a blade. That's the, like, end bit, which does more damage. So, 10% per hit, up to 30%, so if you hit 3 people, you're healing 30%. That's a lot of health. Like, if you combine that with the Juggernaut items, you can easily hit like 4,000 health points on Darius, maybe 5 items in, so quite late into the game. But with max CDR, you get 3 seconds, I believe. It might be 4, but I think it's 3 seconds on your Decimate ability as a cooldown. So if you rotate that 4 times in a team fight, you could potentially heal 30% times 4, which is going to really, really add up. That's like double your health bar and add 20% more. Imagine that. Imagine how crazy that is. Very rewarding. Very cool, because Darius had like no healing abilities before. That was his weakness. He was like a lane bully with no sustain. So you compared him to someone like Renekton, who could call the meek and just keep healing up. It's a different form of bullying. It wasn't as good. But now, yeah, it's cool. I like it. I played a blind pick as Darius actually into a Darius, and what's interesting is whoever decimates last wins, because you get the heal. So if you're both full health, they hit you, then you just heal over their health and hit them. Interesting. Also, the fact that you can cast it, I really like that. Before, well, it's got its weaknesses, I guess. But Decimate before was like you click it and you spin straight away. But now it's a small cast time, 0.75 seconds to be exact. It lets you line up a perfect Q, and that's really important now. Because before, just queuing to apply your passive was the main priority. But now you really want to hit that blade edge. I don't know if they've got a term for it. I keep saying blade edge. They just refer to it as blade. So if you hit them with the blade at the very end of the skill shot, is it a skill shot? Well, you know what I mean, like the active of it. It's very rewarding for that health regen. So in a team fight, you have that 0.75 seconds to position yourself to hopefully clip another person, get an extra 10% of your health back. The change to his W, it messes up a few of his matchups, I think, maybe. Because against Aurelia, for example, it was great that you could reduce her attack speed. If you just imagine 2 champions, it's very basic kits who just auto-attack each other. If champion A has the ability to reduce the attack speed of champion B with an ability by 20%, it's really impactful, because say they missed 1 auto because of it, that adds up a lot in that scenario. So to go off of that, against any melee, he used to have an innate advantage in just auto-attack trading. Say you both burnt your cooldowns, it's Renekton versus Darius, and you just W him in the olden days. Renekton's slower auto-attack, less damage. Now it's a bit more utility. That's okay though. It'll probably let you get another auto attack off, I believe. So 1 second, 90% slow, which is like a root, if you want to say. It is kinda a root. Just below. There's a champion who's similar to that as well. Is it Fresh Ultimate? Like if you get hit by Fresh Ultimate, you're kinda rooted if you think about it, because it's such a slow. They may as well just be 100% at times. Except you can flash, I guess. So that's okay. Doesn't hurt many of his matchups too much, but like you will feel it, I think, especially against like Aurelia. So now his E, it also applies a slow on his E by 90% for 1 second. So that means you can essentially 2 second 90% slow someone, and that adds up in a team fight. If you catch onto a carry and you apprehend them, they're slowed for a second. You auto attack, then cancel into your W, and you slow them again for another second. 2 seconds of being slowed by 90%, that's probably a dead carry, or at least a caught carry, 1 blowing cleanse, flash, whatever. But yeah, I think Darius will play exactly the same, except he'll be viable now. Again, take that with a pinch of salt. Just because I think his kit was lacking a heal, and the new heal mechanic has potential, like real potential. Is terrifying. I mean, I got caught in my red. I might have footage of this. Hopefully I'll play it somewhere. But I got caught in my red playing Darius, and I managed to get maybe 3 or 2 Q, maybe 4 Qs off. I'm not too sure. But I should have died there, and I healed so much from it. Maybe only 40% of my health. But think about it. Like, you calculate damage all the time when you're fighting someone, and then imagine they just randomly have 40% more health because they did it correctly. They used their mechanics correctly. That's crazy. You can't really play around that to an extent. Like, to stretch that further, imagine a team fight where Darius gets his Q off on 3 targets, so he gets his 30% heal 4 times, like I said. 120% of his health. Who's playing around this 4,000 Darius actually having about 8,400 health or such? Imagine that, that's crazy, right? So yeah. And then, lastly, his ultimate, yeah, it's cool. It scales him into late game better. One of the biggest weaknesses, again, of Darius was he was so mana gated before. I think his base mana used to be 500 at level 18. It's roughly that. And his ultimate cost 100. So, ideally, in theory, in the perfect world, you want to cast your ultimate 5 times back in the day as Darius. So that's 500 mana to hit everyone. Now it's possible, because it cost actually goes down to 0. Also, when you land an Oxy Guillotine, you can use it for free again, I believe. So even at level 6, where you've just got a level 1 ultimate, the cost, let me just find it, is 100, and yeah, you can use it for free after you actually kill someone with it. You get 1 free, so you can chain them. In most scenarios, I do think you'll execute someone, and then since you're a Juggernaut and you're at the front line, you're dying, you're just going to hit someone and chunk them before you go down, and not worry about really getting the wombo combo of 5 kills. And I guess we should touch on the new passive on his ultimate. I think that's really cool. The little fear when he ults someone. If, like, any nearby lesser creatures, it says, I assume that's any basic jungle monsters, like mini raptors, lane minions, but nothing like Drake or Baron or blue buff, I assume, become terrified. If you think about it, being minion blocked is a huge factor of playing a Juggernaut. If you're playing someone like Darius and you're trying to engage on someone but you have really bad minion collision, you're kind of boned, right? This new ability where you just land the ult and then everyone scatters and you can just walk forward, that'll be cool. It'll help you stick on targets. In team fights, it might help you get around to someone a little bit quicker. Let's say you're ganking bot lane, you won't have any minions to contest with for control of where you're walking. You just walk to your next target. Might only shred like 0.1 seconds of your travel time, but that can be huge. You might grab them before they flash, something like that. So overall, yeah, with Darius, it's kind of the same as Garen, really. I feel like they're just band-aiding some basic issues with their kits. I guess they're really cautious of making them like tier S characters. Currently, I'd rate Garen as like a D tier, and maybe Darius is a B minus. Like, they had their niche, but after the Juggernauts update, I think you could argue that Darius is in a good place. Again, he does have bad matchups. We should touch on that. Like, Teemo into Darius, that's not great for Darius at all. Even if you land the hook, you can get blinded and punished. But into like a melee matchup, I think Darius will still be able to hold his own, similar to Garen. I'm curious to where top lane meta will go soon, because I'm scared that it's just going to be Juggernaut style bruises again. There was like an area where we kind of felt like Season 1 again, where we had AP tops. I mean, rest in peace the days of Lissandra top and Kennen, right? Like, that was cool. I loved that. But I think it is definitely going to head towards the Juggernaut era. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all I want to talk about. Overall, it's cool. I really like it. I might talk about the items. We'll see. But yeah, if you're looking at what champion is going to be strong upcoming after this patch, it's going to be very wishy-washy. We're going to have to see how these Juggernauts actually affect the meta, especially Mordekaiser's bot. I'm kind of scared of what's going to happen with that. But there's a good chance we'll see like a counter pick meta in a sense for top. So let's say Darius is considered like S tier after this. People get him down. They're like, you know what, this character has so much tankiness. He's got a great lane phase against melees, and his ultimate offers so much in team fights. We're going to play him quite a lot in solo queue. Similar to how he'd play Riven, but obviously not on the same power level. We might see an area where, like a stage of Darius getting picked in select, like rank select, and then there's just like a set of 3 characters you have to now pick into Darius. Like, oh, they picked Darius, alright, I gotta pick Teemo and Dumpster this lane, because if he gets out of control it's too crazy. I can't pick someone I'm comfortable with, like Wukong, because he can't deal with Darius. That might become the case. We'll have to see how strong it is. I think we might go back to more like a passive sustain top meta, where like Kennen can't face a Darius who does a camp level 1 and then TP's top, for example, and I don't think Lissandra can either. So you're going to pick someone like Maokai, or you're going to pick someone like Riven maybe. We'll see how it turns out. I'm very wishy-washy on my thoughts on that. Maybe I'm giving too much to Darius and Garen. maybe, but we'll see. So yeah, I might talk about the items later on, but that's pretty much it. Go try Darius, go try Garen. I think they're both cool, but Darius is probably in a lot better of a place. Cheers.